Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the British Tier 9 Premium Medium Tank, the Old Reliable. Now if you did like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Old Reliable. It is a tank that is going to be properly rare, because it's one that came out at Christmas in 2023. It's part of the collaboration with Vinnie Jones for Christmas. And the fact that we didn't see it last Christmas tells you that the likelihood is we might not see it again. I mean, it's one of those things, you never say never, right? Because tanks can come back at any other point, but it depends on whether they rework a license with an IP or whatnot. So this is a rare tank, because you don't see it very often. Not many people did pick it up when it came out because it was super duper expensive. And it's not that great. It can be pretty decent, but it's not a great tank. It's a bit more of a meme vehicle. Because, as you can see, it's a Cobra. It's the Cobra, which a lot of people have. But it's not got that 120mm 4-shot autoloader, which is an absolute meme if the Hesh can work. It's got a single-shot version of that 120mm gun, or as it's called, a 12-gauge shotgun, because Vinnie Jones. And it still has the one thing that is beautiful about the Cobra. And that is Hesh, because it's got 210mm of penetration on this Hesh for 540 alpha, and that can still meme so very hard. It is absolutely beautiful for that. It's still super inconsistent if you do use the Hesh, but I use full Hesh because, well, I like the memes, generally. But the thing is that it's different to a standard Cobra as well, apart from obviously not having an autoloader, is that you do have an AP round, which has 268mm of penetration for 400 alpha. Which means actually the AP round on this tank is very, very good, and you can switch between the two rounds to have a great time. Now, in the review I did for this vehicle, which was, again, a year and a half ago, and that's the only video I've done on this tank, I did use the ammo swapper instead of a gun stabilizer. I just bared with the pooey gun to be able to use the gun stabilizer, but it got to the point where it was a bit annoying, and I decided to just go for the memes full Hesh. And it can be a barrel of laughs, but like I say, it's not a great tank in general, and it's one that can be very, very awkward. But when you're doing stuff like that to a machine, oh, it's tasty. So the Old Reliable, it's got 40 km/h top speed with a 25 km/h reverse speed, 950 horsepower engine, which means you've got 29.15 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you quite easily hit 40 km/h top speed. But you are very slow, because a 40 kph top speed for a medium tank is just slow. So you've got to bear with the fact that this tank hasn't got the best top speed in the universe, but it's got a very good reverse speed. 20% internal fire chance is the same as the Cobra, and it likes getting set on fire when you get shot in the back end, same as getting engine damage, so something you've got to be careful of in the Old Reliable. You've got 48 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, so the tank does turn very fast on its tracks. Ground resistances don't hold this vehicle back whatsoever. 347 meters of steel concealment is, again, not great. It's not very stealthy. It's pretty easy to spot, and you will get spotted all the time in this tank. 486 meters of view range is actually pretty decent as well. Again, that's fairly average view range, and it means you can spot for yourself okay in the Old Reliable as well. 53.52 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is faster than the tracks with the build that I run, which is quite nice for the Old Reliable, and it does turn very, very fast, this turret, very quick indeed. You've got a 1.04 accuracy during rotation, which is not very good with the build that I run, and a 1.48 accuracy during movement, which isn't too bad. So your accuracy during rotation isn't great, but your accuracy during movement isn't that bad at all if you are running the gun stabilizer, and that's why I'm running the gun stabilizer, because as a pair, those two together without it are dreadful, and it means your aim circle is absolutely huge. And you have a 2.12 second aim time, which means that it takes a little bit to get aimed in. It's not slow by any means, but it does take a little bit to get the gun aimed in if you don't help the gun out in general on this tank. 10 degrees of gun depression means you're pretty damn flexible on a ridgeline, which is lovely. 0.29 accuracy at 100 meters means you're actually pretty accurate in this vehicle as well, which can be good when you get it fully aimed. And especially, like I said, the AP rounds can be pretty good for the Old Reliable. A 9.48 second reload for a 2.5k DPM is a little bit slow. For a Tier 9 medium tank, a little bit slow, but like I say, you do have the Hesh rounds. So you got 268mm of penetration on the standard AP with 400 alpha, so that 2.5k DPM for 400 alpha is a little bit low, and it is that little bit slower to fire those 400 alpha rounds. But you do have 210mm of penetration on the premium Hesh round, which has 540 alpha and is a beautiful meme in of itself, which is why we load full Hesh for the memes, because we like memes around here. And the standard HE has 120 pen for 570 alpha, so your alpha on the standard HE is actually a little bit higher, and you have 120 pen, which is still pretty good for a standard HE round. You got 1,020 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, which is slightly above average. Still have to give a bit of lead to hit the targets, but it's about average in terms of the velocity. But your velocity on the Hesh round and the HE is below average and is pretty slow at 793 meters a second, which means it helps make this gun feel exceptionally derpy if you are using those Hesh rounds. So yeah, be careful of that when you do fire them. But as you can see, the gun can still be pretty nice even if you're firing on the move. And that's because we've helped it as much as humanly possible. And naturally, as it's tier 9 premium, you don't really have any bonuses. The other thing for this tank is you generally don't really have any armour either, which is a sad time because most of the time you will get penned very, very easily, especially when you're shot in the side. The turret armour has the kind of angles that you can occasionally ricochet shots off this turret, but don't always rely on it. It's one of those that it's definitely a glass cannon in terms of those things. But as you can see with that first game, Fish 3 kills, 6.6k damage. The Ace Tanker, the Demetrius, the Confederate, the High Caliber, with the 1217 base XP. It's a sad time that we end up getting to the enemy base, and they'd managed to cap as well. It was one of those sad, sad times, but there we go. It happens. It is what it is. But we really did meme around with the Hesh round on that Old Reliable in that game. And that shot on the artillery at the end is why we help it out with the gun stabilizer, because otherwise, the gun is super derpy and it's super inconsistent. When you've got a super inconsistent round like the Hesh round, it can be super frustrating if the gun handling isn't good. So what do I run in terms of recurring equipment? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Rapid Aim, with the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to be able to get that 486 meters of view range so we're not blind, so that we can spot for ourselves as well. The Gun Stabilizer to get that accuracy during rotation down as low as possible, same as the accuracy during movement, so that, again, the aim circle doesn't bloom out too much and we're ready to go a lot of the time very, very quickly. The Advanced Loader to get the best out of the reload because it is slow otherwise. All 3 gun perks to help out the gun as much as humanly possible because, as we've stated with the stats, the gun is pretty derpy if you do not help it. And Rapid Aim to make that turret traverse better than the tracks because it's not quicker than the tracks if you do not help it out. So it's nice to be able to just do that. Now, like I say, if you decide that you want to use the AP as well, it might be a good solution just to be able to run the ammo swapper instead of a gun stabilizer so you can switch between the two, because the Hesh rounds are an absolute phenomenon for the tank. They are fantastic for it. They are really helpful to turn the tide of a fight against a lot of targets, but there's a lot of targets that the Hesh rounds are also absolutely poo against, and you're not really going to do much against them with it. But when you hit people like a Tiger 2 in the side for 572, that's super tasty, you know? That's why we like the Hesh rounds. But that's where the AP rounds can come in handy, because you can load them for other tanks that you won't be able to do anything against with the Hesh rounds, like a Chaug in front of us. Now, if we're aiming up into the lower plate of a Chaug, or we're hitting the cupola, we could possibly pen that guy. But likelihood is we're not going to pen it. And as you see, 2-turn pen to the lower plate shooting up still did only 80 damage. So you can see it's one of those rounds that when you're firing pure Hesh, you really have to know what you're doing with it, because you have to know exactly where you're going to hit. RNG has to go for you to actually hit exactly where you need to hit, and you need to recognise where and when you are shooting people. So naturally you need to know the places where you can easily pen people with 210 pen at tier 9 and 10. But the other one is seeing what I was doing there with that Chaug, and that is 639. Oof. That is when I was shooting at the lower plate. Obviously I was not penning, I was doing 80 damage. You saw me instantly switch to go and try and shoot at the engine deck when he angled it at a weird angle, because I could have gone through the engine deck. So you just got to have that sort of know-how of where to go, okay, no, I need to shoot there instead, and instantly switch to it and not be too slow with trying to get those shots off. The majority of people when playing this vehicle will fire AP and Hesh where they might need it, and that's the way you probably should play it. But I'm meme. I like Hesh. I'll just use the Hesh because memes. So we're taking on the C75, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't think these Hesh rounds were going to pen that E75's cupola, but we've penned him twice. And we will take it, because Hesh, glorious Hesh. We hit the Balsig for 580 odd as well, or 570 odd, whatever it was. Oh dear. Oh, Mr. Fosh. That's not a good time for that guy. And we hit the little bar on the Fosh, even though he's flipped, and he's clearly gone, ah, screwed. Screw you, screw this. Get out of the game. Get out night, Mr. Fosh. And we get rid of the French tier 90D there. I'm not quite sure what he did or how he managed to do it, but we'll take the damage. We're up to 4.4k damage, and this is where the beautiful thing of Hesh is. That E75 is side-scraping. He's in a position where we could probably get him down to the potential to be one-shot with just a shot to the side, because we don't really need to pen the Hesh. Because we've got 540 alpha, we're still going to hit plates that we can't pen for still 80, 90, 100, nearly 200 damage. So, depending on, obviously, how thick the spot is that we are shooting at. So, it was one of those things. He was sitting there going, yeah, you're not going to pen me. I don't need to pen you, sir. I will just shoot you with HE and Splash. It's what we'll do. We're at 5.1k damage with 5 tanks left on the enemy team. There's the AMX 1390 in the distance, a heavy tank, which is that guy at J9. Medium tank at J1, which I don't think I've quite realised is there. Can we see the shot onto the Highlander? Oh, it just goes a little bit high, goes over the top. It was a bit of a snapshot, realistically, and was never going to go anywhere near that Highlander. But you never know. Loves a try. Everyone loves a try, right? And we tried. So the G-Saw is getting pressured by the heavy tank in the TD. I don't really think I'm possibly going to get near that G-Saw before they get there. So my only hope is to try and get extra damage into Mr. 1390 if he decides to give us the chance. We can't find a shot of the I think it's a Chieftain T95 there, but Mr. 1390 is now going in on the double tap. And oh, beautiful shot with 526 straight through Mr. 1390. He's one of 2 tanks left. Can we get the kill on this guy? Sadly not, as the Chow shuts him down, leaving just the G-Saw, which I'm very surprised isn't dead yet. But there we go. He finally gets shut down and finished the game with a really nice total there for the Old Reliable. Finished with the epic victory. The 2 kills, 5.6k damage, with the first class, the Confederate, the Sniper, the High Caliber, for that 1626 base XP. A pretty nice game there for the Old Reliable in a tier 10 game again. And it just showed off the Hesh, how it can be awkward at times, but also just showed off the tank in general. And yeah, it's still reliable. It's going to be a pretty damn rare tank, and likelihood is we might not see this tank come back. Really does depend, because again, you never say never, right? But if the fact that it didn't come back last Christmas, it probably might not come back. But there we go. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!